Now broadcasting from his hidden bunker and fully stocked bar, it is the Saturday Report with Colt Sebastian Taylor.
Thank you and welcome once again, my friends, to the Saturday Report with me, Colt Sebastian Taylor, adventurer, entrepreneur, and amateur scallywag. And welcome to AWSM Radio, an independent digital-only radio station that plays today's best music, old school classics, along with a rotating cast of all-star DJs. AWSM Radio focuses on mainstream artists, independent artists, along with a variety of interesting talk and music shows throughout the day, such as my own. All we do here is entertain, inspire, and inform. My friends, I want you to be part of the show. I want to engage with you, be part of the conversation. So find me on the Twitter, on the Rizzle, on the Instagram, and on the Cameo at Colt S. Taylor. I'm mostly on Twitter. And, of course, if you missed the show, subscribe to the podcast version of it at anchor.fm/Colt S. Taylor. And follow up on all my other adventures, including what will soon be a reoccurring Dungeons & Dragons adventure I'm voicing at ColtSebastianTaylor.com. I'll be updating it, hopefully by the time you hear this message. So, maybe next week. All right, folks, let's get started with this week's Saturday Report. First up this week, folks, COVID-19. Yes, it's like the Kanye West presidential race of 2020. Always seems like I have something every week to talk about COVID-19. Although if I had to choose between the two, I'd rather talk about Kanye West running for president. But anyways, this week the government launched a free site where you can get COVID-19 tests sent to your home. You put in your address, enter some information, and through the U.S. mail, you will get 4 tests in the mail to use at home. Also starting this last week, health insurance companies are now required to cover your home COVID-19 testing kit. So these things were running for like $15, $20, $30 a pop. So a lot of people, that's a lot of tests and whatnot. So the insurance agencies now are required to pay for 8 tests per person in a household. So if you are living with a family of 4, you can get 32 free tests in a month. Now, how that exactly works, it kind of depends on your insurance company. One would think they would make it as easy as possible, but health insurance companies are terrible entities that basically try to make profit off the people being sick and more concerned with the bottom line than they are with the health of their people they're insured. They probably won't make it that easy at all. So, but if you can jump through the hoops, you, my friends, can get yourself a home testing kits at home, sent to you, keep them in your closet. I've got a few myself because local pharmacies aren't always available to do a swab and whatnot, so it's good to have them. So between the post office, which will send you 4, you can now start getting them for free through your insurance company for the time being, so that you can keep yourself, your family, friends, neighbors, even the guy you don't like down the street, safe from COVID-19. In other COVID-19 news, the NHL hockey league here in the United States, and the NHLPA, the Players Association, have agreed to reduce their testing regimen for the NHL. They will be no longer testing on a regular basis. They'll be testing only folks that are showing symptoms of COVID-19. Basically, if you have the sniffles, they'll test you instead of testing everyone on a regular basis. This follows a massive outbreak in December where 15% of their players were in isolation due to testing positive for COVID-19, resulting in about the postponements of 50 games in December. So they apparently kind of want to finish their season on time, so they're doing a little bit of a tweak of things so that they don't quite have that sort of issue anymore. So basically, if you are showing symptoms, they'll test you. If you're not, then they will not. They also test anyone crossing the U.S. and Canadian border. And but they also are reducing the isolation period that people have to be on isolation in order to get back to playing again. Now, in the HL, all but one of their players, some guy named Tyler Bertuzzi, is vaccinated. And at this point, about 73% of the league's players have tested positive at some point during the season. If they test positive and you're not showing symptoms, apparently you won't be tested again for another 90 days, I guess, after isolation. So I guess that's how that works. They also are not requiring players to get booster shots. So can't say this, don't know how great of an idea this is. Seems a little like this might blow up in their faces and whatnot, but I guess if they all agree to it, I mean, they are a business. They can do things that they see fit. The NHL All-Star Weekend is set for February 4th through the 5th in Las Vegas, and they will be only testing players as they arrive, not throughout the All-Star Weekend. So I guess we'll see how well the NHL does with this. If it works well, we could likely see other major sports leagues adopt this sort of more relaxed COVID-19 policy now that testing is widely available and the majority of the players are vaccinated. We now go to Florida. America's, Florida. And Governor Ron DeSantis, I've spoken about him in the past, and you may find it surprising. I am not a fan of that twerp. He is, whenever I see someone on Twitter who says, "Oh man, I wish Ron DeSantis was the governor of my state," I usually tweet them back, have higher standards, because you can do a lot better than that D-bag. So, anyways, besides the fact that he's a terrible person who is trying to emulate Donald Trump's style to suck up his fan base for a 2024 run, that will be interesting to see how that goes. He is pushing a bill this week that would that would protect white people from feeling guilt about racism in the past. I'll just let you let that sink in for you there for a moment there. Yeah, so it'll be, if this law passes and he's pushing it, against the law to do any sort of training, lessons, talks, formal instructions that make white people feel guilty about racism in the past. So this is part of his big old critical race theory battle that I don't think he actually understands what critical race theory is. Most people against it really don't know what they're talking about. But, yeah, he's calling it the Individual Freedom Act. The bill would bar employers and schools from, quote, any individual as a condition of employment, membership, certification, licensing, credentialing, or passing an examination to training, instruction, or any other required activity that promotes certain concepts related to race and racism. For example, it would prohibit employers from providing training that espouses, promotes, advances, inoculates, or compels people to believe that they bear responsibility for, or should be discriminated against, or receiving adverse treatment because of actions committed in the past by other members of the same race, color, sex, and national origin. So it's, I have had several jobs in my life, and I've attended many classes. I'm obviously one of the smartest people you hear week in and week out. I have never been into anything that compelled me or inoculates me or promotes or advances or espouses to me those things. Hey, granted, there are things out there that do that, but those are crazy people. Those are the folks that yell on the side of the street on the milk carton trying to hand you brochures as you're leaving Starbucks, okay? Those are the crazy people. No legitimate thing does that. Now, listen, they will educate you. They will make you a less ignorant, slack-jawed yokel, and more appreciation of what history is and what actually happened, not what your pappy told you, all right? Not what's on the Hallmark Channel from the 1940s and 50s. They'll tell you what actually happened, science and facts, and if you feel bad about that, well, that means you're a human being, so that's a good thing, but that's not anyone's fault and whatnot. So basically, and also, like, basically, the equivalent to this is, if I was of German descent, okay, it would be illegal to talk about World War II because as German from German national origin, I'd feel bad by actions committed by other members of the same national origin. That's basically what this law is, okay? So if someone's sitting there and doesn't want to listen about why they can't use certain slang words while discussing other peoples of other country, races, sex, creed, whatever, they say, hey, you're making me feel bad for being me. This is illegal. And that's how that law works. You know, I had to read this article twice. Like, what? What? If you could, you know, there's a lot of folks that sort of boo-hoo and look down on the term white fragility. Like, you know, rah, 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 rah. This is what that is. This is what it is. The people that this is quote-unquote protecting are the same people that call other people snowflakes, that they melt. They're precious little snowflakes, okay? They deride people being upset about things. Toughen up. Oh, you should, don't take things so seriously. It's just a joke. It's always been like that. Those are the people. They're going to be they'll be waving this law in school board meetings, showing up to principal offices, walking out of meetings, saying, I feel guilty. You're making me feel bad about me. Oh, my goodness. Ron DeSantis is a grifter. He doesn't care about any of this, but this makes a good email fundraising subject line. That is all that is. And being a former teacher, I take umbrage at this, as well as most educational stories. And that's why I left teaching, because you know what the biggest, I've said this many times before, the biggest problem in education today are folks who think they know how education works. Folks who have never stepped into a classroom, never taken a class about teaching, who just do anything else in their lives, think teaching is just repeating what's in a textbook, and then that's the way it goes. That's the way it goes. You know what? This spins into a really nice story. Well, not nice. It nicely spins into my next story. But anyways, yes, this is probably passing in Florida because that's the way things are in Florida. You know, hopefully protecting. Don't want you to make you feel bad about history or be aware of history and be pleasantly ignorant. Hey, that would be a good state motto for the Sunshine State. Should be pleasantly ignorant, Florida. Now, there's one bright spot in Florida, one shining beacon of amazingness and a reason to go to Florida, pleasantly ignorant. It is the unignorant, the amazing, the talented, my best DJ friend, DC, and he has a show, my friends. Fighting the good fight from Florida, sending out tunes across the internet waves every Friday night at 9 p.m., Sundays at 10 p.m. He is our in-house DJ here at AWSM Radio. You, my friends, don't feel guilty. There's no guilt implied by this, but you do not want to miss out while he smashes it on the ones and twos. He is kicking the beats from South Florida week in and week out. You need to listen to DC live in effect Fridays at 9, Sundays at 10, right here on AWSM Radio. Moving along, but staying in the world of education, the National Guard has been called up. What? To patrol the border, to help in hospitals? No, in schools. Why? Because teachers, they're getting sick. And guess who's not so eager to pop in COVID-infested schools? Substitute teachers. You may ask yourself, oh, Colt, my goodness, substitute teachers. That's what they do. Why aren't they popping in there? Well, folks, maybe you are uninformed about what substitute teachers are and what they do. But yeah, substitute teachers are fully credited teachers. They know how to teach. They've gone to school. They have a degree. They are certified. They basically haven't been hired by a district yet, but they float around and they substitute. Here's the thing. Substitute teachers do not get a salary. They're paid by the day. And most substitute teachers do not have health insurance through school districts that are paid for. They pay for their own health insurance. So, golly, if I'm a substitute teacher, am I going to be putting myself in a place where I could get sick for, 5, 10, 14 days, not make money, and still pay health insurance so I can get my treatments? The answer would be no. So, surprise, surprise, substitute teachers are in high demand, and no one wants to substitute teach. I know, I wouldn't have this time. So, New Mexico is calling out the National Guard, as well as other states, such as Massachusetts, I believe Oklahoma, California. Other states are loosening regulations to let other people substitute teach. And, that's a hot mess right there. So, in a attempt to keep schools open, to not have a disruptive in-person and online teaching, they're sending in National Guardsmen, state employees to basically babysit students and give them busy work to do. Now, they have to pass, background checks, which, if you're in the National Guard, I would hope you'd be able to do fairly easily. State employee, again, hope you would have to do fairly easily. And then you take some online training on how to teach. Now, as someone who went to school for 4 years and got a master's degree in education, yes, surprise, surprise, folks, I am educated. Those aren't teachers. No, they're not. They are monitors at best, and they're babysitting. I would say the students there are not. I'm sure they're getting an education in terms of worksheets and packets and watching videos and whatnot, but those aren't teachers. They can't follow a lesson plan. They're not to be able to understand whether someone gets it or doesn't get it. I mean, the eagerness to reopen schools, I certainly get. I understand. It's a lot of pressure to put on families to keep kids at home. I certainly understand it. But if your main argument was we gotta get these schools open, children are falling behind in their education, they need to learn, they're not developing correctly, they're not learning the stuff they need to learn. I'm not quite sure putting in Lieutenant Jenkins in there, who he could blow up a bunker like the best of them. He can lead men in charging into battle. He can hunt down communist guerrillas. Can he tell you the difference between a preposition and an adverb? The nuances of the nuances of the War of 1812? Perhaps he could tell us more about Jamestown and its influence on early colonial. They probably can't. That's not his wheelhouse. Okay, people don't join the National Guard in hopes of teaching 3rd and 5th graders one day, or watching a bunch of 17-year-olds not respect you whatsoever while they goof off for an entire day in high school. Okay, at best, helping out during floods and whatnot, or or hopefully not being sent overseas, but blah, blah. So thank you to all of the National Guard who are wondering whether that 1 weekend a month is really worth it, teaching kids who probably don't appreciate them. So that's a hot mess that I am not eager to join back in. Holy moly, you could not give me enough money in the world to... well, that's not true. I would teach again for $5 million. Cash up front. Yes. So, yes. I would go back to the classroom for that. So, you want to redirect some of that COVID-19 relief money my way? Your old pal, Colt Sebastian Taylor, expert teacher, history maven, classroom management and discipline extraordinaire, will be available within a 30 to 45 minute driving distance from my secret bunker. Moving along for some good news here. Dolly Parton turned 76 this week. legendary country western singer Dolly Parton turned 76. Posted various photos of herself. She got many good greetings on Twitter from such as Jimmy Fallon, as well as Miley Cyrus. And so happy birthday to Dolly Parton. She's in one of the great movies, Steel Magnolias. If you haven't seen that, you should see that. It's a star-studded movie. One of my favorites as well. Fun fact about Dolly Parton, did you get the Moderna vaccine? Well, you can thank Dolly Parton. She donated $1 million towards the research of that vaccine. And she is, obviously, maybe other people have donated and research and whatnot, but she was highlighted as, like, there was a big amount of money given to that. And Dolly Parton helped contribute to the research of one of the big vaccines against COVID-19. And she was very gracious about saying that she just wanted to help people, and if that money would help out people, that's all the things she needed. Really think, there's a good amount of, like, genuinely good people in the world, and Dolly Parton is kind of one of those people. Like, when she passes away, if it turns out she was the head of a large criminal empire, I think people are like, well, okay, but it's still Dolly Parton, so why should we feel bad about this? Dolly Parton's still a good person. So, anyways, Dolly Parton, 76 years young, still looks fantastic. The likely crush and heartthrob of many of your grandparents is still kicking, still singing, and still doing good. Moving along, folks, to food. When growing up, you ever have like a circle of bologna from Oscar Mayer and bite out like the eyes and the face and put it on your face and like wear it like a mask? Well, sensing a marketing opportunity, Oscar Mayer inspired a face mask a bologna face mask. Yes, put on a face mask with it looks like bologna that's supposed to hydrate you, but also looks horrifying at the same time. It looks like lunch meat, but but you can't eat it. Okay, it's not edible. It's not an edible bologna, like actual bologna you put on your face. It's a face mask, like a mask, like to tighten skin and hydrate faces and blah blah blah. It's supposed to look like lunch meat, but is not actual lunch meat. It's made by a Korean skincare company called Seoul Mamas, Seoul being the capital of South Korea, and uses witch hazel and seaweed in the ingredients. And it works like a standard face mask. You can cleanse your face, you clean your face, apply the mask, wear it for 20 minutes, and then remove it, and feel the energy of the universe, or something of that nature. According to Oscar Mayer's senior marketing analyst, Lindsay Resler, she said, "This is the latest of our brand movement to create work that feels more like pop art and less like traditional commercial advertising. Inspired by the old, modernized for the day." So it's basically a publicity stunt. It was on very limited amounts were available on Amazon. It might be sold out by now. It's very much a sort of a, I don't know, just a publicity stunt, whatnot. It's not, like I said, you cannot eat it, but you could if you want to. Supplies still might be available. I haven't even checked because I don't do face masks and I barely do bologna. But you can get yourself a bologna-themed face mask to hydrate your face. Although apparently it looks like you're wearing someone else's skin, kind of like Leatherface, or Hannibal Lecter, like Silence of the Lambs. Clarice, do you hear the Clarice? The lambs crying. So, if you got it, tweet me. Let me know at Colt Taylor and send me a picture. I would love to see your take on that. Moving along, back to music news. The Grammys have rescheduled their ceremony. That was supposed to be at the end of this month, but due to the surge in COVID-19 because of Omicron, they decided to move it to a Las Vegas site in April. They'll be broadcasted at the MGM Grand Garden Arena in Las Vegas on April 3rd. According to CBS and the Recording Academy, they were going to be having it on January 31st at the newly renamed Crypto.com Arena. It's a stupid name. In Los Angeles, but because of COVID-19, Omicron, they decided to push it back as well. This is the second consecutive year it had been rescheduled due to the coronavirus. Last year was a little low-key. Did not really have any live performances and whatnot. They have big crowd. A lot of it was pre-taped, etc., etc. So that, but they're hoping to do it well this year. With a live show. John Batiste is a leading nominee for the year's honorees. Has 11 nominations in a variety of genres, including jazz, R&B, American roots music, classical, and music video. Justin Bieber, Doja Cat, and Her are tied for the second most nominations with 8 each. The shift of the show, the Grammys, to April 3rd has caused another shift. The CMT Awards, the Country Music Awards, was originally supposed to broadcast from April 3rd, but now will be moving to a later date in April because the Grammys, which I guess one would say is the higher tier of music awards, has moved to that same date. So hopefully the CMTs will be able to keep their deposit at whatever venue they rented out for that evening. I imagine they would. I imagine they did. Speaking of music, my friends, if you have returned to work now and have a commute home in the evening, well, you are in luck, because you will not be driving home alone, because you'll be driving home with Rox during the Rox sessions. It's our drive time show here, and my friend Rox makes sure that your evening commute home is fun, featuring the hottest music on the charts and some other surprises in between. She will make it rock style, Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. right here, my friends, right on this very station, AWSM Radio. Moving along in the world of entertainment, YouTube is getting out of the content business, at least producing original content. Google and YouTube, which is owned by Google, it's winding down its original productions team after more than 6 years. The head of global original content, Suzanne Daniels, will be leaving the company in March, and they will be only funding programs that are part of YouTube Kids and part of its Black Voices series. So basically 6 years ago, they were going to make original content like they do, like Netflix and Hulu does, but didn't quite pick up, and they shifted gears. They had some hits. Cobra Kai, which is the continuation of the Karate Kid series, very good series, amazing series, started on YouTube and then popped over to Netflix. On Becoming Gods in Central Florida, picked up in Showtime, and Step Up was acquired by Starz. But yep, they are shutting things down. They're going more for unscripted drama, I guess. I don't know, but I just don't really care. I'm not a big fan of YouTube. Got my start on Colt Sebastian Taylor here. Started on YouTube doing my product demonstration videos and whatnot, but YouTube, I mean, they just do not support small time creators at all. You have to have tens and hundreds of thousands of followers, and most people over that are just like pranking people and being jerks, or like Mr. Beast have tons of money and they just give it out to everyone else as they just basically buy attention. Folks like me, your old pal, little Colt Sebastian Taylor, can't make a dent, so why should I spend an hour making a few videos for YouTube when I can spend that time making content for you, my friends, on AWSM Radio? So YouTube doesn't pay its small-time creators. They make money off of people. They make money by putting commercials on these little videos, but they don't share that with a little guy. That's it. So I couldn't care less about YouTube originals. Hopefully, folks that were conned into joining their original programming, they will find themselves somewhere else and whatnot. But sorry, all those folks out there with those big old YouTube original accounts, all 6 of you. Looks like you have to be you're looking for your original content somewhere else, because YouTube can't make quite enough money off of you. So much like supporting their small-time creators, they're giving you the boot. Who, YouTube? You are the Hyundai Tucson of online original content. Boom. Nailed ya. Speaking of things being wound down and canceled, Ellen DeGeneres' Game of Games game show is ending. It's not being renewed for season 5. Its last show was in May 2021, so it is done. It featured larger-than-life versions of the games that were played on her regular show, The Ellen DeGeneres Show. Each episode, contestants would compete for the chance to win $100,000. But it is not being renewed. It had done well in ratings, performed well in kids' demographic, but it is not being renewed, and it comes after the Ellen DeGeneres Show, her talk show, is set to end this spring after 19 seasons. As you may remember, there had been some previously nasty stories about her and working on the show that kind of went all over Twitter, went viral. She had to put out some statements, but looks like NBC has had about enough of her and is cutting ties for the time being. I'm sure she has piles of money lying around. I'm sure she'll be fine. But looks like she will be no longer on TV after this spring. After her show, The Ellen DeGeneres Show is set to end after 19 seasons, almost 2 decades of that show. Whew, it's a lot of shows. But we'll see what she does after that. If she does decide to do something else, I will let you know. Well, if it comes across my table. I'm not following Ellen DeGeneres' career all that closely. Obviously, she won't be going to YouTube Red or YouTube Originals. They have that's one avenue that is now closed, but I'm sure she'll find something to do as well. Next, folks, Heidi Klum. Yes, Heidi Klum, the supermodel, TV host / judge of various things, was on the Ellen DeGeneres Show and said her legs have been insured for more than $2 million. Yes, that's right. She is famously known for her lovely legs, but they were insured for $2 million. But one is insured more for the other one, apparently. Because on one of her legs, she has a big scar that she got falling into some glass as a child. She usually covers up with spray tan and whatnot, but the leg that doesn't have the scar is insured for more money than her scarred leg, apparently. But she made it clear that it wasn't her who insured her legs. It was a client that insured them. She didn't really go into details, but I guess the client hired her legs for something, and then if her legs, got stolen, that they were insured for $2 million. So she's got legs, and she knows how to use them, but if something happened to them, they're insured for more than $2 million. So I guess I should get insurance on my pith helmets. Now, those are valuable. Those are, $80 a pop. Maybe more. But my legs, probably $150 each. Yes, $150,000 each. No, they're not really worth that much either. Not compared to Heidi Klum. Boy, Heidi Klum, those are some legs. Whew, how much? $2 million worth. Sorry, this show got entirely too hot, too quickly. Too hot, too quickly. And there's nothing I can do about it. Nothing I can do about it all. Changing gears here now, friends. I am not a sports nut, but if you are, and there are plenty of them out there, you already know what I'm about to tell you. You already know, because you are likely a regular listener to Married to the Game, our sports show here on AWSM Radio. It broadcasts every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. It features Brian, Joe, and Mac Daddy, and this trio of sports gurus will bring you their insights, analytics, and expertise to the table for all things games, and also a wee bit of trash talk, because what kind of sports show would it be without a little bit of trash talk? So tune in to catch up on all things sports for the week. Follow them on the Instagram at Joe on at Turn Up the Jets, Nick at the Mac Daddy Ryan Show, Brian at bolstered_up_sports, and then the show itself at Married to the Game, MTTG Radio. Follow them on Instagram. Listen to them on Wednesdays. Married to the Game, Wednesdays at 9 p.m. right here on AWSM Radio. Finally this week, some sad passings to announce. Stand-up comedian Louis Anderson passed away yesterday at the age of 68 after battling, I believe, blood cancer in Las Vegas. He was diagnosed and was undergoing treatment for a type of non-Hodgkin lymphoma. He was named in 2004 as one of the 100 greatest stand-ups of all time by Comedy Central. He co-created Life with Louie, which was a Saturday morning cartoon which featured the 8-year-old version of himself, and many people also knew him as a host from Family Feud in the late 90s and the early aughts. Some of his most memorable cameos was in Coming to America, the original one with Eddie Murphy, and the sequel. He made a cameo in that movie as well. He won an Emmy for his character on the show Baskets with Zach Galifianakis, where he played the mother of Chip and Dale Baskets. He actually was nominated for several Emmys after that as well. There was some very good work during the 4-season run. And very sad to see that he passed away. I was actually about to do a story about him doing well, but this other one came across on Friday that he had unexpectedly passed away, unfortunately. Got to start in the 80s. He was on a early comedy special with the great Bob Saget and Sam Kinison, which have also passed away. Well, Bob Saget just last week, and Sam Kinison several decades ago. And he was performing in Las Vegas at the time of his passing, unfortunately. Also on that special, Rita Rudner, also in 1984, on HBO's 9th annual Young Comedian special. Other films he was in was Cloak and Dagger, Quicksilver, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Rat Boy, and The Wrong Guys. And he was very well liked by very many people, and he was personally picked by Eddie Murphy to be in Coming to America. He said in 2021, the whole cast is black, and this is back in the 80s, so it was like, we have to have a white person. There has to be one white person in this movie. What, he said? So it was, who's the funniest white guy around? And Louis, we knew, he was cool with them, and that's how Louis got in the movie. So that's how Eddie Murphy recalled how he got into the movie, because he knew him and he needed someone to be in there. So, unfortunately, Louis Anderson passed away on Friday at the age of 68. Also passing yesterday, Meatloaf, the singer Meatloaf, 74 years old, passed away due to COVID-19. You're probably asking yourself, oh gosh, was he masked? Nope, he was a very outspoken anti-vaccine and anti-masker, telling someone, if I die, I die. I'm not going to be controlled. So, well, COVID-19 got him. Meatloaf, best known for his appearances in the Rocky Horror Picture Show, also Fight Club. One of his top-rated songs were I do anything for love, but I won't do that in 1993. He also did the song 2 out of 3 Ain't Bad, and had 2 hit albums, one in the late 70s and one in the early 90s, and was continuing to perform. Meatloaf told the Pittsburgh Gazette in August that even though he struggles with asthma and other health-related issues, that he considered lockdowns to be political and masks useless before offering the reporter a hug. Quote, I'm happy to give you a hug. I hug people in the middle of COVID, saying they refuse to live his life in fear. Well, he unfortunately has passed away at the age of 74 due to COVID-19. I highly recommend you renting the Rocky Horror Picture Show. He's great in that movie, as well in Fight Club. Also a great Meatloaf performance. So those were 2 sad passings yesterday that I had to bring you here on the Saturday Report. And my friends, that's just about wraps up this week. I want to thank you for joining me here this today on the Saturday Report. Remember, you can find me on the Twitter, the Rizzle, the Instagram, and the Cameo at Colt S. Taylor. Find the podcast version of the show at anchor.com/Colt S. Taylor. And if you haven't already, follow all my other ventures at ColtSebastianTaylor.com. The podcast version usually gets posted on Sunday afternoon, so subscribe there. And hit me up if you think there's a story I should be covering or I'm missing, or you just want to say hello. I always do enjoy the attention. Until next time, my fantastic, wonderful friends, I am, of course, your friend, the one, the only, Colt Sebastian Taylor. And I'll see you later. Have a good weekend.